Hello and welcome, I'm Basic XP, and this is Xbox Game Pass of the Week, my weekly show where I talk about what I'm playing in Game Pass. Now this week's game is Unsighted, a very interesting kind of top-down action game, action-adventure game. I don't really know what to call this genre. It reminds me a lot of Crosscode, which is part of what drew me in. But the thing that garnered my attention immediately is I heard about this game on, I want to say, the Game Informer podcast, and they talked about this mechanic where you're a bunch of androids in this world existing, except you are all running on batteries, more or less. We'll just call it batteries. It's easier to understand that way. And your batteries are running out. And if your battery runs out, you're dead. The game is over. And also, everyone else in the world, all the NPCs, also running on batteries. Their batteries can run out, and then they're dead. And you can't talk to them or buy items from them or weapons or what have you. It was like a really interesting idea, and it drew me in. It got my attention. I really dug it, the principle of it, and I kind of wanted to see what the game was like. Fortunately, the game is in Game Pass, and I was like, well, perfect opportunity. Kind of in this slower period of the beginning of 2022, I get to play all these games that landed late in 2021 that now there's a bit of breathing room, and I can actually take my time to enjoy them. Now, interestingly enough, it turns out I found this mechanic extremely anxiety-inducing, which maybe I should have predicted. Basically, the fact that you only have a limited amount of time to beat the game, and on top of that, you have to make this judgment call where there's these other characters in the game that you might want to keep alive for kind of mechanical reasons, like getting better stuff, makes it very hard to just enjoy the game. The game is really beautiful. The gameplay is very fun. It's a little more Dark Souls-y than, say, a game that's similar to it like Crosscode, in that the combat is fairly unforgiving and the stamina bar very much defines how you play the game. Now, fortunately, this game has a mode, I think it's called Explorer mode, where you can just turn off the timers. And that's actually what I ended up doing. So despite the fact the thing that got me interested into this game was this mechanic, I actually ended up turning it off because the game was so fun and the world was so interesting. I was like, well, I don't really want to have a time limit. I want to go explore everything, unlock everything, kind of max out my character, so on and so forth. And I don't really want to be limited by an artificial time limit. And given if this was the kind of game where I was going to play it multiple times, maybe that's how I would have done one run where it's okay, I'll just try to get through it as fast as I can, and just kind of ignore how I would normally play games. But I quickly looked through the achievements and noticed that the game doesn't punish you at all for making this choice. The difficulty isn't any different, aside from kind of this time meta game, this time management meta game that inherently makes the game a little more difficult. But other from damage and the spawns, etc., the game is the same. So I was glad I made that choice because I ended up really enjoying the game and enjoying spending my time and going through and getting everything. And I don't want to talk too much about all the stuff I did because there's some spoileriness in there, and I think you should really check this one out. It's a lot of fun. But I thought I would just mention that it's kind of funny that the mechanic that made me interested in this game was the thing I ended up being no. It turns out this is really cool on paper, but it absolutely fuels my anxiety. And I don't play games often to stress myself out. At least not in that way. It's like playing a game like Halo and kind of that competitive stress. That's all well and good, or speedrunning, something like that. But where you're literally just imposing this emotional strain on yourself constantly, even in parts of the game where nothing seems to be really happening. Not about that life. And as a result, I'm really glad that they maybe had the foresight to actually, the developers of the game had the foresight to actually predict what people might actually feel about that mechanic, and give the option to just turn it off and just let you play the game more or less as a normal action adventure game. I think that's about everything I have to say about this game, but I actually wanted to do something different at the end of this episode, and you might have just heard my Xbox turn on because I actually can't remember the name of the game. What I'm going to do is at the end of each of these episodes, I'm actually going to talk about other things I've been playing, like make the video about, as well as what I like intend to play the next week. So basically every week I'm still playing Halo Infinite, so you're going to hear me say that a lot. Pardon the clicking. But the game that I'm probably going to be checking out this week, I'm like expecting it to be the Game Pass of the week, but I'm not positive, is Record of Lodos War Deedlit in Wonder Labyrinth. And then I believe there's actually more to the title, but I can't read all of it. But I think Wonder Labyrinth is probably the SEO term that's going to come up. That's the way it's like titled. So if you want to kind of like book club style, play a game along with me, I am going to mention what I plan to be playing in the upcoming week, but it's not always going to be accurate, because if I don't like the game, I just switch and I'll play something else, and then that game might be Game Pass of the week. I don't make these videos about games I don't like, so I only highlight games I think you should check out. But I'm hopeful about this one. The other contenders are Flynn, Son of Crimson, and I think I had one other one on here. Well, maybe I'll go back to Astria Ascending or Echo Generations. Those are the other games that are like kind of lingering on my list from the backlog of 2021. Anyways, I'm Basic XP. This has been Xbox Game Pass of the Week. Again, the game is Unsighted. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave those comments down below letting me know if you played this game, what you thought about it. And I will see you again next time.